Today, mastermind topic, Amanda and everybody, I picked on a really good topic that I think that nobody teach you in school. It's actually the soft skill, the people skill that you really need when you do business. Unfortunately, I just take my nephew to school, Georgia Tech. He pay like $30,000 for a semester, and then I see government 101, I see chemistry, I see pre-calculus, but I don't see anything that teach about people skill. Unfortunately for him and for us, we're gonna be dealing with people for the rest of our life. So if we can all learn how to be a master at it, the hard skill, how to run the cap rate, how to analyze the property, those stuff is gonna come in place. But if you don't know how to talk with people, my God, your life's gonna be very difficult. And I think there's nobody better to discuss on this topic than Amanda. So the moment when I met Amanda, her soft skill is amazing. She listens, she know how to read the room, she know how to handle people interaction, handle people emotion. So all that good stuff, I think is really important for a real estate agent. What do you think, Amanda?
I think it's something that we should absolutely learn in school. I don't know how we don't. And I'm still learning. I think that's part of leadership is always learning. Overall, a quick trick. So I studied the DISC, but there's so many different personality types and different topics and things that you can study. But overall, people are usually either people oriented or task oriented.
Mm.
And so if you look at Jeff and I, for example, he's a very high D, which means he loves to see things get done. He wants the task to be done. He doesn't care if Sarah does it or Teddy does it or Hui does it or Luke. Like it doesn't matter how it gets done. It's what can happen and how can it get done quickly. Details is not his thing. So someone who has a really high D or that personality type, they don't want a 4 paragraph detail oriented email about what's next and how I'm going to hold their hand and all the feelings that we're going to have along with it. They don't care. What's next and we're done.
Yeah.
I'm a very high I. I could see a little, I think I see some I in Hui for sure. And Teddy too. High I and Sarah. What's so funny is as you start to learn this, you can pick up who's introverted, what their personality types are, what's important to them within just a few minutes. High I's are more who, like, right, they're more people oriented. And so, yes, we're drivers and we want to get a lot of stuff done, but we want to do it around people and we want to know who's involved and we want to know more details and we want to make sure that you're happy along the way. So as we finish that task or that goal, we're friends at the end of it and your client actually likes you. Some people are like, I don't care if my client likes me, as long as we get the deal done and I perform well, they're going to use me again. And so high I's really care about the who's. It's more social and recognition and things like that. And
Yeah.
then for the smaller ones, it's S and C. So Sarah's an S, which is interesting because I'm a high C. S's are more people oriented and they want to do things that bring stability. So they're more slow to react. They want a little details. They want the comfy cozy. They want to build for their future. And then the C's are like the rule followers. We're compliant. We want to know why. Does it make sense? Can I see a spreadsheet? I want to look at the data. I want to understand why we're doing this and why it makes sense. So like a high C I would never cut in line at Six Flags. But Jeff is like, hey, we could get there faster if we just say sense. I couldn't do that. It would just be paralyzing. And so getting to see what's important to people, is it the result or is it the experience? I think that really helps. And then do they want a lot of details or do they just want it done?
Yeah. And I really want to open the floor for the mastermind. So there's four basic personality, as Amanda discussed. The
Mhm.
the D, I, S, and C. And so first of all, you have to realize, who you are. That's the most important question is who you are. And one of the best way I think, Amanda, is to define who you are is actually go to our app at my.experity.com. And then when you go to your dashboard, there's actually a free personality test that you can take. It takes 20 minutes. I advise you don't think about it too much. Just go with your first instinct with the question. So that way, you are honest with the test and you're honest with your personality. So the moment you know who you are and how you communicate, now it's time for you to look at a client or look at your partner and figure out how they communicate, how they react to a certain thing. So that way you guys can find a common ground, a common communication channel. For example, either texting or calling. Some people prefer texting, some people prefer calling. That is some of the basic you need to figure out like right away before you start working with everybody. If you communicate on the wrong channel, then it's gonna get very difficult and you want things to fall smooth in your real estate transaction. So that is really important.
Yeah,
So
a little cheat when you guys are working with clients is to always, and I'm just now starting to practice this over the last, I would say 3 or 4 years, where before I would go, oh, I know the answers. This is what you do. This is how we list the house. This is my simple, repeatable process. This is how we're going to sell it. And what I've learned is if you just take them a few minutes to dive a little deeper with why they're selling or why they're buying and what's next for them and being able to forward pace them into a little bit of an emotional aspect, the transaction goes so much smoother. Like they'll put everything in your hands and trust you. And if they say, "Oh, I want a bigger backyard," just take the minute to go, why is that important to you? What does that mean to you? What is that going to give to you? Tell me more. Tell me more is such an easy one-liner that you can use for everything. And then you'll find out if they're looking for how, or if they're looking for why, or if they're looking for family, or if it's I grew up and I didn't have this and now I want to give it to my kids. Like whatever that emotional thing is, that's going to be the motivator that you can use throughout the whole process for when things get messy or when the person gets frazzled. You can go back to, okay, do they need a lot of details? Are they anxious and stressed out because they're not having enough information and they're nervous and they need to know more? Or are they stressed out because it's not moving fast enough because they're high D personalities? And so sometimes you might have to have multiple solutions based on their personality type.
Yeah. Sarah, I really want to ask you a question. Like during your work, whenever you work with client or talking to a client, have you encountered any like personality type that you have to be like, oh, this person is so direct, this person is so compliant, this person is so steady. I need to adapt my communication style toward that particular buyer or client, or I'm gonna lose them. Have you ever encountered something like that?
Yeah, I'm actually going through one of those right now. I do have an investor that's very needs all the details, and I have to like really communicate with him constantly, and I'm on the phone with him a lot, and I have to gear him back and get him focused again a
Mhm.
lot. So that's one of the personalities, but then there's also my seller who she's wonderful. I mean, she's very detail oriented, and but she's anxious, like she wants to get it done immediately. I need to get this house sold, I don't want to be here anymore. And her house is like in a weird area, and it's also non-restrictive and stuff like that, and it's across the street from a welding place, so it's harder to sell for her. But I just try to keep her updated and in the loop a lot. But it's not just the selling, it's her wanting to buy again.
Mm.
And so I have to keep her patient and make sure that she's actually, I'm like, look, I know you're excited about all these homes. I was like, don't worry, there's going to be plenty of inventory when we sell your home, because it's based on a contingency. And I've already looked into trying to do like bridge loan stuff and everything, but she just right now doesn't qualify for it. And because there's a HELOC on the house.
Oh wow. Okay. So
Yeah, so that kind of killed it for us. But just keeping your clients on track and trying to make sure they're not, and always keep in contact.
yeah,
Like I
so
know one likes texting, one likes calling, so I've got to be flexible with them.
yep, yep. So my tip when dealing with a person who is very detail oriented, I'm actually working with a client right now. He's in the same field that I was before, which is cyber security, and he has to pay attention to all the detail. Sometimes the detail is so small or it's not as important in a transaction. He still want to know about it, and I always have to remind him like, hey, we can spend an hour looking into this, but is it gonna affect your buying decision? So I always ask questions that gonna draw him back to the original point, why he want to buy the house or why he wants to sell the house. Yes, we can spend all the time to do all the research and regarding his question, but is it gonna impact his decision? If it's a yes, and then we can look into it, more than likely he's gonna say that, you know what, it's not that important. I'd rather spend more time over here working on the actual goal instead of knowing all the detail that have very minimal impact to the deal. So I usually use a lot of questions to draw the buyer back from to the closing table, if that makes sense. Yeah, Amanda, do you have any feedback or want to help Sarah when you deal with somebody like super detailed?
So Jeff he's a high D and I have a ton of C. So you have the S, but I don't think you have a lot of C. I'm very detail oriented. So I have to be careful because my emails are very long and I want to have a spreadsheet and I want to have embedded links and I want to have all the things and all the PDFs are attached. And it could have been a 2 sentence thing. And so for Jeff, he just sends them to me and he's like, my wife is going to explain it in a way that you're going to love. And now I've found that the high driving investors, if they want to be short and to the point, I've learned to do that, but it's not natural for me. I'd rather Jeff work with them and then I work with the high Cs. What I'm learning now is to read them. For example, I come in and I'm prepared with this long, fancy listing presentation. I have this luxury listing. I've got all these things that my PowerPoint of all the listing syndication and virtual staging, and I'm just going to razzle dazzle them. And as soon as I sit down, I realize that they're a high D and they're looking around the room and they don't care about my presentation. They want to know what I'm going to list the house for and how long it's going to take to sell and when can they move out. That's all they care about. And so I've had a couple presentations where I pick up that you read the room and you close your laptop and you say, listen, I can tell that you're just really focused on X, Y, and Z. And you have to be able to shift in the middle of it and go. And his wife afterwards was like, I'm so thankful that you picked up on that because that saved us an hour of our time. And now he respects you more because of it. And you'll get to have cheats. So if they're a high D, they're going to say, no small talk, just give me the numbers. They're impatient. They're not rude, they're just impatient. If they're high I's like me, we want to talk about friendship and excitement and what it's going to feel like. And is our family going to be involved? We want to build rapport. We want to talk about our weekend. And then high S is like Sarah, you don't need all the details, but you need to know that you're not pressured. You need to be slow to decide. It's got to have, like, even we, like the Asian community, they've got to have the feng shui and it's got to have a harmony feel and they're looking for a sign. So the minute you pressure them, they're out. They're backing out and they're not going to make a deal. But if you pressure a D, sometimes they need that little kick to move on. And then for me, a high C, like we want to know why. We want to know the details. We want to know the spreadsheets. We want to know the numbers. And so if you're just like, trust me, I've got this. I'll call you if I have any problems. I'm paralyzed with anxiety. A high D is call me if you need me. I'm out. That's your job. You're the realtor. But a high C, they want to know what's next. What's next? And the more information you can give them, the less they're going to be driving you crazy. So this you can use on any kind of business at all. And it's a non-negotiable. You have to learn it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I think, Amanda, one of my takeaway for today already is the sentence that you just said that I wrote down. My partner will explain it better than I am. Don't be afraid to in an agent attraction appointment, or if you have partner in real estate, some of you guys have team. When you see a personality conflict, that you know that you're gonna have a less likely chance to close this person versus somebody you know that have a very highly chance to close the person, you immediately need to back out the conversation and then introduce that closer in already because you see a personality match. So that's the sentence I want to write down, or I want everybody to write down today, is that my partner or my teammate or my team leader, my mentor, they will explain it better than I am. I can't wait to connect that person to you. If you do that, you're gonna create a lot of leverage for yourself. And I think that's really, really powerful.
Jeff does that instantly. He's okay. If you're talking attention in the schools and the mom clubs, you got to talk to my wife because I don't care about any of that stuff. And he's upfront about that. But for agent attraction too, like the more stories you could learn, like everyone on this Zoom joined EXP for a reason and all of their businesses are completely different. And so the more stories you can learn about who did what and why it was important and what they're good at, you could say, okay, I can tell that having the weekends off is important. Or for Hui, I can tell that cash flow and equity is important to you. You've got to talk to Hui because he joined for the same reason. For Teddy, it might be because of the culture or the support. I can tell that's important. You've got to talk to Teddy. Or for Sarah, it's something different. And so, yes, it's leverage to you, but it's also such a fast. It's hard for us to show up and say we talk about collaboration and then we show up on the Zoom when you're by yourself. Like that's not collaboration. So really pulling in those people and sharing that story. All of these personality types, I think stories still sell.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, that's another takeaway for me, Amanda. I know that X, Y, and Z is important to me. It's important to you. You have to talk to this person. So you already identify what's important to them, all the pain point, and then you immediately connect them with a solution. And what you say could not be any better. I really like that script. I think I'm gonna start using it. Very simple and very powerful.
We should do role playing one day on agent attraction because it is something like you don't get to watch YouTube videos or whatever on what to say or how to connect with people.
I would love that. I think that would be amazing.
And
Because typically I'm like, oh, I'm not a recruiter, but here, talk to this person. Like
the more Zooms you get on, the more fun it is for me because at first I was like, oh, I've got to sell them on EXP and I don't know everything about EXP or I haven't been there long enough or I don't do the cash offers or whatever they might be interested in. And what I've learned is I've had now probably 3,000 Zooms. It's crazy over 10 years about the company. Everyone, it's the same. They want freedom. They want support. They want the ability to grow and they want some kind of like culture. And that's it. They don't, yes, the numbers matter, but they're humans and they want to feel like they're supported and loved and they can grow and that they have something next to look forward to. And so every conversation is very similar. A trick that I do now is I'll share like a quick, like the expvideo.com, something like that. And instead of saying, hey, I don't have time, or I don't want to talk about the $85 a month, or I don't want to talk about the splits, I think that's so silly. I'll say, I really want to have a high level conversation that's just about you and your business. So I'm going to send you this about the company first. You watch it, and then we can really be intentional about our time. And framing the conversation up front makes things so much easier, because then they're like, okay, I understand this rev share thing is cool, the stock thing is cool, I understand the tech. And then they're pre-sold before you meet them. And then you just talk about them, what's going on in your business, what's working well, what do you want to change? And instead of going, oh, EXP this, EXP that, tell me more about that. It's the same thing you would use in buyers and seller consultations. Tell me more. What would that mean to you? Oh, if you could have that, what does that mean for your kids or for your business? Or what can I help you with? And don't ask for anything. And you'd be amazed how refreshing that is for people.
Yeah, I think you nailed you nailed the point on the head, Amanda. Most of this conversation, a lot of us we're missing the point. It's not about you. It's not about EXP. It's not about rev share, but it's all about that person and that business. And the soft skill is going to help you smooth that out, because if you spend the time to listen, a lot of us we get in the presentation mode and we just want to explain things. But really, in this conversation, all the question and all the focus need to be on that particular person. Sometimes they're gonna try to spin it back on you. I know a lot of good top producers, they want to learn more about you and they try to spin the conversation back on you. You have to figure out a way to spin it back on them and have them talk about themselves. If you can do that, trust me, it's gonna be a lot easier whenever you want to somebody to buy a house, whenever you want somebody to sell a house, or whenever you want to attract somebody that you like. It's gonna be really helpful.
Yeah. And you can use this, so learning the disc or whatever personality type test that you love, you can use it for recruiting too. So if they're a high D, like for Jeff, listen, if you want to double your numbers and double your business and scale across the United States, you need to be here. It's just a no-brainer. But then for me, like I'm a high I, it's like, hey, we're a family, we're a community, we collaborate. If you want to be surrounded by people who are going to cheer you on and celebrate you and support you, this is what you need. If you're like a Sarah, you're an S, it's you're never going to feel alone. You're always going to have someone at the touch of a button. You can reach out to us. We're here every step of the way. We're your support system. And then for me, it's I need all the data. So here's exactly our system of how it works. This is the numbers behind it. This is why agents are outperforming the market. And so any type of sales or pitch or conversation, even with your kids, you could use the disc.
Yeah. And not to say that you need to stuck in your personality. So if you take the My EXP test, that's gonna be your natural and it's gonna be adaptive, because we learn and we grow all the time. So I don't learn to speak in front of people all the time, but I grow into it, if that makes sense. So you can adapt your personality in order to match that other people's personality. But you just have to be aware of your energy. So if you in your natural state, your energy, so let's say if you're an extrovert, outgoing people, going to the bar, going to networking event, those is not going to drain your energy. Those is actually going to give you so much energy that you can just keep going and going. As an introvert, going to conference, going to meeting, going to meet people, I still need to go and I would love to go. But I just noticed that at the end of the day, I need a quiet time to recharge myself, because if I don't do that, my next day, my next morning is going to be horrible. So if you, again, back to the question on who are you, if you figure that out and you can control your energy, you're going to show up at 100% for you, for your client, for your partner. But just be aware of your energy level and where you perform best naturally and where you have to adapt and spend the energy to actually make up the difference.
I love that. I'm reading a book right now called The Comfort Zone. I had never heard of it before. The lady came up with the whole power of positivity. That's like her pitch. But the comfort zone is talking about how we're always told, even from a young age, to get uncomfortable. Like to grow, you need to get uncomfortable. Or to grow, you need to step outside your comfort zone. Or no pain, no gain. And all these people are going outside their comfort zone and doing stuff that's not natural to them. And then we wonder why we're stressed and we have anxiety and we're pushing ourselves too far and we're like burnout. And the whole concept is you can do what's your zone of genius. If you're like to say, hey, I realize that this energizes me and maybe this doesn't, and I need to do this, but I need to go back and re-energize myself. Find out, I'm doing this self-discovery, find out what energizes you and what is your comfort zone and what is your zone of genius. Teddy's incredible at connecting with people and at such a, yes, I'm business professional, but like such like a real authentic connection. That's his zone of genius. So find out which like your one thing that or two things that you're just darn good at and build on that. And so the whole idea is like a business by design within your comfort zone. And if you're in your comfort zone, it energizes you to where you're like, I can't wait to keep doing it. Instead of, oh, I've got a sales call. It's, oh, I've got this opportunity. I can't wait to get to meet this person. And this person's incredible. And so I think that's something else that we should all consider is what are our non-negotiables? I think that building businesses is huge. I think that We all want to grow and do great things, but at what sacrifice? And staying inside your zone of genius or your comfort zone and scaling, that doesn't mean that you're lazy. It just means that you're intentful. What are some of y'all's non-negotiables, either with clients or business or recruiting?
Yeah, I think that is really important to figure out, Amanda. So for me, it's not working after 7 p.m. because I told myself I'm not gonna quit Schlumberger, which is a very high paying W-2 income job, to go work after 7 p.m. So for me, that's non-negotiable. And I've been sticking with that. And I noticed that every time I deviate from that, I pick up a client phone or I go showing at 7:30, thing doesn't end up very well. Yeah. So I just know what is the thing that I cannot negotiate for, and then I stick with that. Yeah. So that's for me. Go ahead.
Sarah?
Yeah, I agree with that, especially like having cutoff times and everything. So it's funny because I just shared my disc test with you, Amanda. And what's funny is that I think I took two or three, was it last year or the year before? It was when I was working at Academy. And we all, as a team, took the disc test. And everybody on my team was a high D, and I was the high S. And I felt so out of place because I'm very team oriented. And so I know myself well enough to where it's like I have to be surrounded by people in order to be successful. And so a non-negotiable for me is that I have to put myself in like a good networking environment or somebody who's going to put me in a good mindset and a good team environment in order to be successful. In order for me to actually thrive, I want to be able to collaborate with people. And so that's like a non-negotiable to me as well. Is hey, if I have a meeting, if I have coffee and collaboration, I have to be there. If I have the leverage lunch, like I have to be there. And even my husband, like he laughs at, he's probably a high D, I don't know, but he's just get out of the house, just go so that you're happier. But I also have my cutoff time at night where I spend time with my family and I put the baby to bed, stuff like that. And it's, hey, I'll call you later.
I, I love that. Yeah, Lucas, I'm gonna pick on you because I think as the new real estate agent, we tend to take all the phone calls, say yes to all the lead, go do all the things that the buyer and the seller are asking for. I know you did that for the long 2 years. And now during the conversation with you, I realized that you burn out a little bit and you start to set boundaries, the stuff that is not non-negotiable with you. So I really want, if you can, if you're listening, open up your mind and share with us what is some of the things that you are changing this month to make sure you structure your business. What is some of your non-negotiable? If you're speaking, you're on mute. I'm not sure if he's speaking. I mean, he's listening. Yeah, but just to speak for Lucas, he's an icon agent in our group, and he say yes to everything. And I've been coaching him a lot. Eventually, it's gonna burn you out. You're gonna hate this profession, and you're gonna quit. And I think it's at this point right now that he realized that. So I has been in a lot of conversation with him to narrow down. Hey, you're about to have a kid. You cannot do an 8 p.m. like showing or errand anymore. You're gonna cut it off, or you're gonna burn out, or your wife is gonna hate you. So he start to see that and he start to chop off a lot of the stuff that now hopefully his business is going to be a lot more structured now.
I
Right?
love
You make icon, yes, you make money, but if you are miserable doing that, and I don't think there's a point doing real estate.
I saw a post on Facebook yesterday, and it was a lady who wanted to use a showing concierge, and so many realtors were dogging on her about having someone else do her job for her and how I'm going to pick up your client because you're not doing your job. And it was just like so negative and short-term thinking. And hundreds of people were telling her how she needs to go open all the doors. And I think sometimes we need to focus on what is that high level activity? Someone said the other day, only do what only you can do. And I really like that. What are the one or two things like high level negotiations and research and the CMAs? What are the things that you do at a high level? And then it's okay to tell someone, hey, I want you to move quickly. I don't want you to miss out. It's okay for so and so to meet you. I'm still going to oversee and give you the same level of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get burned out. It's okay to have some boundaries. I did a little cheat sheet for the disc. So for the Ds, it's if people are slow or micromanaging or bossy, or they don't see like that they're going to make results quickly. For me, it's isolation or lack of recognition. Which joke, like if you guys know the four love languages, mine is buy me things and tell me I'm pretty, right? And so the high Is, they want like friends and they want people to go, you're doing a great job, some kind of recognition, some kind of like positive vibes. Ds don't need that. They need results. They don't care if you buy them stuff or tell them that they're pretty. Just like Sarah, they hate like constant change. If there's always changing and you can't predict the stability of the future, if there's a lot of pressure, if there's no emotional support, if, hey, I've got you, we're going to be together. And then for me, C's like any kind of chaos or sloppy systems or emotional decisions without the data. And I'm the same. If I say something, if I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be like, today I'm sick, but I'm like, that's my Tuesday Zoom. I said I was going to show up. If it's in my calendar, it's going to happen. And so I think that a lot of times we make all these commitments to other people and we show up for other people. But then when we make commitments for ourselves or for our business, we're the first people to fail ourselves. And so really making the commitment of I'm going to show up for myself and my business and what I said, that my word is my bond. Like even 30 years ago, especially in Texas, like you would just shake someone's hand and that was it. The house was sold. You didn't need 40 pages of paperwork and a title company to figure out that the house was sold. Even if someone came the next day and offered you more, I'm sorry, I shook John's hand and it's a deal. And so I think that we've gotten away from that, especially with our own business of I said I would show up, or I said that I would commit to that, or even for I said I would make my 5 contacts or my 2 social media posts or whatever. We just don't feel like doing it, and we don't. We should.
No, I love that. And since you mentioned focus on doing the thing that really make you money, Amanda, I would recommend a book. It's a little bit sidetracked of all the of the list, but there's a book called 10x is better than 2x. So that book is long, but it's all narrowed down to the same thing. Hey, just focus on the thing that you do that make you the most money, and then the rest you have to figure out system around it, way to leverage that. So I've been implementing the book, and I'm seeing a lot of results. It'll give you a lot of time back, a lot of time back.
What if we did one Tuesday where everyone brought a book? I don't want to read that book. I want you to tell me all the juicy stuff of what I can implement and take away, but not have to read it. And then Sarah could bring a book content and say, hey, you guys need to read this book. It's incredible. This is how you can implement it. This is why this is important. Everybody has 5 or 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, sometimes
We
we
do
can.
like a Cliff Note version of it.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is how you can apply it to your business or your life.
Yeah, I think we can mix that in among all the Kappa, all the icon interview, or all the mastermind. I think that would be just a great mix to add to the Tuesday. Yeah.
Like a Cliff Notes book club, something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep, like that.
Month. Okay, so talking about that, we were going to do like agent of the week, and each agent could pick the next agent, which sounded great, but then they would pick either people who worked with EXP or they'd pick a random who had never really sold a lot of houses.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to be like another, oh God, I've got another class, because EXP has hundreds of classes. I really want it to either be, I'm getting something like I would pay someone $500 an hour for a coach. So if it's like a coaching corner or a coach of the week or an icon of the week, I want it to be something where they're like, oh, I'm getting something of value where it's worth my time, because time is money. What do you guys think as far as theme goes moving forward? I love the book club. Maybe we do that once a month, like the book club thing, get ideas to implement. But the other 3 or 4 weeks, you want to do like coach of the week or icon of the week, because I really think that people love Hui and me, love you guys, but you're tired of hearing from us specifically. Like, I think it's great to hear other people of what they're good at and how they got their business and how they overcame their objections. And maybe they came from a 9 to 5 or they're single parents or something that's going to be so relatable to someone else.
Yeah.
What do y'all think as far as moving forward?
Yeah, so I think we can mix it up and have some variety. It would be great. The Kappa and the icon back to recognition. So that would be a great retention and recognition tool as well. And then, yeah, I really like book club, the quick note version of it. So just more variety. So that way it gives you and me a break as well, rather than just scheduling people all day long.
Yeah, I like it. We can do it like the 3rd Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
Consistent. Teddy, I saw you unmute. Please, I need your everything. Unless you're driving.
Yeah, he's probably running.
Sarah, what do you think, love?
Yeah, I mean, I think lately a lot of my stuff has to deal with like mindset and motivation and stuff. And I'll listen to like mindset podcasts and everything. And then I write, like, I have a notes thing in my phone where I write down like little pieces of what really spoke to me. And because I try to make videos and stuff and put that on social media just to help boost other people, because speak it into the world and it'll get back to you like tenfold. But mindset's always good. Affirmations. I go to the Houston Agent Alliance and I learn a ton. If anybody goes to anything that gives them extra knowledge within the industry, being able to share that is priceless.
Very good.
Brand it. Okay, Teddy's unmuted now. Teddy.
Yeah, sorry about that. I couldn't tell. The icon's too small. Yeah, so whatever we do, I want the presenter, one, to be vetted. I want their material to be vetted. and for there to be actionable items. So I think some of the conversations have been great, but they've been conversations. So instead of, hey, here's the actions you can take to get where I got, whatever it is, whoever it is, actual actions you can take, real world examples of what they've done to get where they are, not just fluff. So it's more like a class instead of a presentation. And now it can be just a 20-minute class. So just pare it down to items that are action items that can be taken versus theory, or like I said, not a presentation, but more like a class. I think people personally, I'd walk away with a lot more than just discussion points. I'd be like, got it. That's what I need to do. If this fits what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do. And then I can explore it further to become even better at it.
I like that. So this is what I did. And if you want to do this, these are the 3 things after the Zoom that I would recommend you implement.
Yeah, so we can navigate we can navigate the speakers like, hey, if you don't mind, at the end of your class, just give the audience the 3 action items that they can take to get them where they are, to get the audience to at least where you are right now. Yeah, so at least we can guide the conversation.
Would like a shareable checklist also work like within those conversations and stuff? Because some people are so visual.
Yeah. And I want them to be able to interview. I almost have this vision of Hui and I would ask them questions, like just, they would know what those questions are in advance, but like 2 or 3 questions to warm them up. And then they would do, like Teddy said, like a 10 or 20 minute, this is why I'm successful. This is what I've done. This is what you can implement. And then we all, if we still have, we still have 20 or 30 minutes, actually say, hey, how would you apply that? Or this is my situation, and be able to actually ask them high level questions.
Yeah.
What should we call it?
Thank you, Teddy, for the feedback.
Yeah, because I've worked with coaches and sometimes there's really not actionable items. They just talk about it. When I've asked for a coach saying, hey, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, I'm usually ending up with a coach who's where I am, not where I want to be. So that's how I think about these presentations are where I am. Action items are where I need to be. That's how I look at those. Because if you're just giving me a presentation, I walk away with, hey, that was a great talk, but what do I do now?
Or all the mindset, like you get all hyped up, but then you're like, what do I do tomorrow?
Yeah, I want the recipe of how you got to where you are.
We can do a template, like whoever the speaker is, these are the questions I'll ask you. This is what I need from you, like your secret sauce, and then how to implement it, like a checklist, and then the questioning, like where we can all ask some questions. And it'll be the same one for every person. I like that. I want people, especially not to be techy, like I love that the new agents can come on and they can get the support and the value, but I want the producers who know how to sell houses to also be like, we're all looking for something. We all want to have that growth in community and support, or what is next for us. And so I think that this is a good way to get it.